He got a job with the meat packing plant, K-12 meat plant. He'd never butchered, but anyway, they taught him. And there was a little boy there that followed him around all the time, and his name was David. So when my baby was born, that's why David got his name. And hot, we didn't have air conditioning back then. And we had a ice box that opened at the top, and put your ice in. He walked in his sleep. He'd go into that ice box one night, lifted the lid, put his blanket down, got a drink, picked up the blanket, and came back to bed. Oh, gosh, I was mad at him. It was so hot. And David was born in August the 27th. We moved into Uncle Phil's rental, which was the old home place. And on the side was 2 apartments where Aunt Pauline, and then on one side they rented. Aunt Lula's was on up a little bit. She lived in this apartment too. Then later, David was walking. I got the big upstairs apartment. I mean, it was kitchen, dining room, front room, bedroom, and then there was more down there, but it was great. And there was an old bed in that bedroom that was almost reached the ceiling. It disappeared. I'd love to know who got that. It was somebody that wasn't in the family, I'm sure, Oh, wine? That little creek that run by there, Mother was the only girl and the 4 boys, and she dared them who would stay under the longest in the water. Well, she won, but she never could hear. That's how she broke her eardrum. He was born out there by the golf course on the county line.
Talking about Grandpa.
Baxter. Yeah, and way back when he was 9 years old, his sister and mother and he all had, well, they all did, I guess the dad too, all had typhoid fever. And Daddy was the only one that lived. No, his dad. But there must have been several. His dad and he lived. The sister died at 16 with typhoid fever. Daddy couldn't walk. It was so bad. And he didn't have a mother now, so the doctor put him in his buggy and took him on his route. And Daddy couldn't walk or anything, so he encouraged him, see. Then later, he and his dad went to Nebraska, and he met a widow woman up there. Daddy wanted him to marry. He always said, I wonder what our life would have been, because she was rich. And they struggled, But that's all I know about him, really. Well, Brazil, Indiana, they lived. And this is a cousin of Daddy's. And in my lifetime, they would go up there pretty often on a trip to see him. But anyway, that's where they would go on a little vacation. And they went to Clayton, New Mexico. Or Uncle Ab would come up here. Uncle Ab, I really got close to Uncle Ab. I liked him. That's the reason when Dwayne was born, I wanted to name him Albert. why did I want in Albert? But anyway, I really liked Uncle Al. And he had 2 daughters, Margaret and Betty. And Betty and I, we wasn't that close in age. I mean, a couple, 3 years, but we got close. We wrote until just, she quit writing me about 2 years ago, and I don't know what happened. The last letter I got, she had fell outside. I had the fire department come. So I figured that's what happened. Uncle Ad lived in Clinton, New Mexico. He told me about a dust storm. There was a line that ran from the house to the barn. And I said, what is that for? And he said, baby, he said, I was in a dust storm one night and I got caught in the barn and I want to know the way to the house. And he said, that's the only way I could make sure where the road. So, yeah, they had dust storms. Oh, he lived in Clayton. No, Colorado Springs. And I wanted to get them together before they died. And I finally got a hold of everybody, and they died. So Daddy was so excited. He wanted, because they lived, I can't think of the name of the town. Colorado Springs. Yeah, they moved from Clayton to Colorado Springs. That's right. Ab and Tim. David.
Okay.
Joplin. No. Yeah, Joplin. And then Donnie was born in Tulsa. Charlotte was born in Nowata, Oklahoma.
1955.
19 what?
55.
55, yeah. Huh.
Donnie would have been, what, 50?
Yeah, he was born in 50. That's the only one I could really remember because it's even number. I guess got laid off at the meat place. And he had 2 uncles lived around Tulsa. And so we went down there and he got a job with a little grocery store. I know what. We was living with this uncle out in the boonies. And one night I felt something crawling up my leg. I kicked it off. It was a rat. The next day, I got in that car. He was at work. I got in that car and I went and found us a place to live in Tulsa. And that's where Donnie was born. 43 something South Union. I got acquainted with this girl. It was some relation to Grandma Meeker. And we was both pregnant, so we went to the doctor together and everything. And the doctor in Baxter told me he'd be born in February. When I seen him at Mother's funeral, I said, you know that baby I was going to have in February? Yeah. I said, it was born in November. He said, somebody made a mistake. 4313 North Garrison Place. And we met the neighbors around there, so he got chummy with Jerry's wife, and they run off, and that's a story in itself. Okay, back up to October.
We might get some juice.
It was Halloween, and that's when no, that's Charles. Yeah. Cut his finger off. And that's when he met Betty. He was in the hospital, and we went in to see him, and they were holding hands. Clue number one.
Which was Jerry's wife at the time.
Yeah. And his
Charles.
wife and Jerry took me to the hospital, so we've seen that all at once.
So we divorced.
Yeah, we divorced. How I caught him another time was a letter came to the house, and it said what address to send the bill to, and I knew where he was. He didn't think I knew. The detective in me got this letter, and I looked up the address, and I was nervy. I picked up Charlotte, bless her heart, because I was in her hand, went to the apartment and went in to see what all was there. And anyway, I got out of there pretty quick because I was afraid I'd get caught. And
That was a different person though.
and I was running with her back to the car. At the neighbor's house, Bill and anyway, a neighbor. She was having a card party all of them together. I went over there, and that's how we met, and they run off. So that was a short story. Nine months later, in August, whatever year that was.
16.
In 1959, Connie was born in March, and we moved to Inola in July. And because we'd met some friends out here that worked with Jerry at work. And so we moved out here to Mike and May's. Oh, worked at Rockwell International at that time, Rockwell International. Then they cut off the International. Right away, the boys got a paper route. And instantly they knew everybody in town. And they knew I was their mother. So anyway, that's how we got acquainted. In 1961, Deborah Maria was born, Maria. And anyway, we already knew Mike and May. And when they wanted Charlotte to go to church with them, so yeah. Well, she ran up the aisle at church, so they come back to the house and told me. So when she got home, she got a spanking. And then I thought, I better go with them. I felt bad at sending them. So that's how I started. That's how I got, still to this day. Oh, to the Inola United Methodist Church. Yeah. And then Charlotte started to school here. Connie was born.